Welcome to Animania Chronicles, where we dive deep into the captivating worlds of anime, dissecting stories, unraveling characters, and sharing our passion for all things animated. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the Fruit of Grisaia Part 3 of 6, the next thrilling installment in this epic anime saga. Join me as we unravel the mysteries, analyze the plot twists, and delve into the emotional depth of Part 3. Get ready for another exciting review. Let's jump right in. Day after day, Yuji was commanded to do as he was told and build his confidence until one day they were deployed into the actual battlefield. Inside the forest, Yuji looks at his squadron. A former car thief and thug from Arizona, a poor girl who used to sell herself in restrooms, an anime otaku who wants his sister, and finally, a sniper who can't kill anyone. They were the most useless group in the entire army, but Danny interrupts his thoughts and asks him if he would like to get that bird for food. Yuji takes aim and fires, hitting the bird, but begins throwing up. He wonders how he would handle killing a person if this is what a bird did to him. Inside their tents, they're introduced to their acting commander on the field. Their days of setting traps began, but one night Yuji realized that enemies were coming for them. They get in position as the battle begins, and Yuji fires to neutralize the enemy but throws up after shooting. His friends continue fighting on the front lines as they wait for reinforcements, but Yuji begins faltering. His commander tells him to close his eyes and realize that all of his friends, his only family, may die. The ones he spent this entire time with, sharing laughter and food with them, all of them are his family, fighting to protect him from the enemy. The commander tells him that the enemy is inhuman and that it's okay to hesitate when killing people, but he shouldn't sit back and watch his family die helplessly. The commander tells him to kill them and that he will assume full responsibility for it. He gives him permission to do it. One by one, the enemy falls down, and even as Yuji hates it, the commander continues counting the number of enemies being neutralized. Not a single shot is wasted, and the entire enemy front line gets eliminated. Yuji continues wanting to battle, but the commander stops him, telling him that everything's fine now and that he can sleep peacefully. Yuji falls unconscious and wakes up in Millie's lap. She comforts him, telling him that everyone's been saved by him and that they will always support each other and that she will never let him die. After a while on the battlefield, his resolve becomes stronger and he isn't influenced by the constant battles and explosions around him. Danny, however, begins losing sight of what this war is about and what winning even means, but their deployment comes to an end, and Yuji survives the terrible background along with all of his friends. As he leaves back to his homeland, Danny comes up to Millie and asks if she'll be fine with her boyfriend leaving her. She tells him that they said their goodbyes yesterday and destroyed their relationship. So Danny swoops in and asks her if he can make her feel better by destroying her with his tenature. Millie stares at the window where Yuji was and prays to God that Yuji will find happiness in life and be blessed in everything that he does. In the gathering twilight, Yuji boards a plane home. It was a windy day when he returned to his familiar mountain, and the paths were just as he remembered. His welcome home was Asako, and she thinks that he looks more mature now after great plot development. Yuji tells Asako that seeing her face was the first time he's ever been glad that he's alive. He tells her that he doesn't know what to do with his life, but that he wants to give every bit of it to her. After that, he finished his final training at the Vancouver International Airport, and that was the last time he'd ever seen Danny's friendly smiling face. As everyone cried, Yuji wondered when Danny's joke was going to end. A few months passed, and during one of Yuji's missions in Spain, JB called him to come home immediately because Asako had collapsed. The only information he received was that it was a chronic condition from being shot many times in her life. Doctors tried to treat her, but her body had become extremely fragile from all the substances she was forced to take during her deployment. Once he arrived, JB told Yuji that Asako had been drifting out of consciousness very frequently and that she'd been dozing off longer. Yuji sees Asako and apologizes for taking so long to get home. She holds his hand and Yuji asks her if she is dying, to which she says that she is. She apologizes for always lying to him, saying that she would stay alive with him. He begins crying, telling her that he hasn't learned everything from her yet, but she tells him to stop crying and to be more of a man like she taught him. She tells Yuji that she's finally understood what her life means now that she's about to die. It was her resolve that allowed her to save him and spend her life with him. Yuji cries, telling her that she was his only saving grace in a life that betrayed him at every point. He tells her that he wanted to believe in her till the end because she was the only reason he had for living. Asako tells him to live his life for his own sake from now on. After all, that's the type of man she's always wanted him to become. He tells her that he can't and that he only survived because of her every time he was cold. She was the warmth he could turn to. He wonders what type of future it will be without her, but she encourages him to find out for himself, to keep fighting and struggling, and to be the man she always wanted him to become. She tells him she's accepted that she's going to pass on, but Yuji asks her who gave her permission. Even if it was God, Yuji wants to fight him off to keep her by his side. Asako tells him to stop being so silly. He spends the rest of the time with her, and she tells him the stars are so pretty today. Yuji looks outside and tells her that the stars are very pretty today. Asako tells Yuji that she remembers him looking out at the stars and crying when he first came to live with her. She asks him what he was thinking about, but Yuji tells her that he can't remember. Asako laughs, telling him that she knew his response. She tells him that she's tired and asks him if she could go to sleep. Yuji tells her that she can go to sleep, and after that, Asako never woke up again. Her body was taken away by JB's subordinates, and Yuji tried to pull himself together by the time she was cremated. JB let him know that they found a bullet among the ashes, and Yuji thinks that it really befits Asako's personality. Weeks pass, and Yuji wonders if he would go to the same place as Asako when he meets his doom. But he will not allow that to happen yet, not until he's fulfilled his promise to Asako of saving 5 people. This is his only purpose left, but someday he wishes to see her again. Yuji sleeps on the floor for days, but JB comes to slap him awake. Staying in that cabin, where Asako's presence still lingered, was filling Yuji's head with thoughts he shouldn't be thinking of, so JB took him into her apartment to live with her. Living together, they would compensate for each other's wounds and support each other, or at least they thought they would. During dinner, JB tells Yuji that he can ask for anything, and he tells her that he would like a better toothbrush because the current one is too soft. Flustered by this, JB asks him if he's been using her toothbrush this entire time, and Yuji tells her that she's been brushing her mouth with his long and rough toothbrush, so it shouldn't matter. JB realizes how numb she was and buys 2 more toothbrushes. Yuji apologizes, but she tells him that she should have expected him to be as crude as Asako. Sadly, Yuji became a thing that reminded JB of Asako, which bothered her, and neither of them knew how to connect with one another once that happened. She would stay up and ask him if being with her would remind him of Asako. She cried one night, apologizing because it's too difficult for her. As days passed, JB began coming home less and less. With all the time he was left with, he wondered if he should go on a journey. He remembered Asako telling him that if there's a path he doesn't know, he should stop and try to find his way through it. Even when making wrong choices, he should try to broaden his view and discover what lies ahead of him. She promised him that they would go on a journey together on her motorcycle, but she never made good on her promise. Yuji gets up, telling JB that he's going on a journey wherever the wind takes him and promises her that he will come back. Yuji was surprised that she let him go so easily because she will be lonely at night, but he drives on Asako's motorcycle. Days pass, and he meets people from all walks of life. While camping, he continues going through the rain and even messages JB that he loves her. Somewhere in the middle of the road, his bike breaks down, and he has to tow it. A man comes up to him and asks if he would like a ride to somewhere safe, but Yuji says that he's just an idiot running around with no place to go. The man laughs, thinking it must be nice to be young, which changes something in Yuji. At night, he wonders if being young is what he's missing and emails JB that he's going home. He opens a drink to give to Asako's grave and apologizes that he came back without understanding anything. Yuji apologizes for breaking her bike, but he hears Asako asking him if he had fun. He tells her that he enjoyed his journey but wonders what he should do now. He feels like this journey has taught him what he's missing and thinks that he needs to just take another shot at being young and going to an ordinary school as an ordinary student. A few months later, however, Yuji was sitting in front of a criminal detective who interrogated him about his identity. After all, he apparently has no parents, no siblings, and no friends. The officer screamed in a fit of rage, asking him if he's an assassin. But Yuji told him that he's just a student. An hour later, Yuji was released and the sergeant apologized because they got a call from the Ministry of Defense on his behalf, commanding them to let Yuji walk freely. On his first day out, the principal greeted Yuji and began driving him to his new high school, but she wondered why he was arrested before his first day. Yuji revealed that he was carrying a pistol in his backpack. Those words made the girl scream, taking her hands off the wheel, and a truck was about to find its new isekai victims. Yuji took control of the wheel and saved them from entering the whole genre. However, the girl had already pissed herself and nearly ran into another car before they arrived at the academy. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the vast realms of anime. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and stay tuned for more thrilling reviews and discussions. Until next time, keep exploring the boundless wonders of anime with us.